True crime community, trending, viral. Another phenomenal guest with William Steele. Welcome to another episode of William Steele, True Crime. Now, as you know, guys, all my fans from Inmate to Roommate, I'm trying to do nothing but positive, inspirational stories since I got out of prison. I served 18 years for nonviolent crime, and I try to have guys on that have been to prison on the show. And we have a phenomenal guest today that he's done 17 years, and he has a whole bunch of material on the internet, including the 100 TV, which I'll let him explain a little better. You're going to have links in the description. And he's really inspirational, telling people, what it's like coming out of prison after a long bid, and how not to get into that situation and the mindset it takes to stay out of that situation. And all the stuff we go through after so long in prison, man. Doesn't matter the color of your skin, man. We all suffer the same way, in prison. It's a lonely road, man, and you can only be distracted so much by the stuff around you. Then you have to be alone, in your cell or with a cellmate, and deal with regrets and deal with the sense of loss, the deep sense of loss that you go through. In my case, I tried to busy myself with books and reading and studying and writing books. So we have a phenomenal guest here, and I'm not going to waste any more time. Let me introduce him. This is Chris, and Chris has an incredible story to tell. Chris, tell us a little bit more about yourself for my audience.
Yeah, my name's Christopher Life Willars, content creator of D100 TV. You can catch me over on TikTok, here on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere social media it is. Basically, my platform is dedicated to advocating for not just people that were incarcerated, but people that have been impacted by mental health issues as well. My story in brief, which he just touched on. Back in 2003, I was sentenced actually to 144 years, all suspended but 19, all because of basically a 30-second decision I made one night. But present day, I'm actually a principal to a vocational school here in Tucker, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, where we boast 100% graduation rate. We just featured on Atlanta News First, CBS 56. And we're doing a lot of community work. So that's the bits and pieces of me in a nutshell, I guess, the bullet points.
Right. So after all this time, you're just telling me when you got released, I think about 2 years ago, right? Almost 2.5 years now.
2020. I came home. I just celebrated my 3-year coming home. I came home January 13th, 2020.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one of the things that caught me. I forgot how you first came to my attention. I'm always on there trying to build up my audience for my true crime and telling the inspirational stories. And somebody turned me on to your channel, I think it was, and I was checking out all these little things you do on TikTok where you're really getting it into your head, man, about what you go through. And I was like, man, I can relate to this freaking guy. I've been there, done that, and I'm still feeling it. Like, people waiting for you to screw up. You're not really trying to do the right thing, or you're observing things and really appreciating things, and people just don't get it. That we no longer take things for granted anymore. Like even with the iPhone, you have one of your little TikToks out there. We're talking about how perplexing smartphones are. Well, guess what?
Exactly.
Now I have to use this sucker every day. And I'm trying to put content out there in my book and my story, so I can relate, man. Your story really hit home with me. And I think people who were incarcerated can really appreciate it and learn something from it. I think the public at large can learn something of what goes through our heads when we're trying to do the right thing. Because guess what, Chris? All they ever hear about, if it bleeds, it leads. If we screw up, they're going to hear about it. It's going to be all over the news. The public doesn't hear stories like me and you. Guys are doing it right. You've been out a good amount of time. I've been out almost a year and a half now. And 18 years straight up. And probably more than that if you factor in my previous bid. But, it's a big chunk of time, So what made you have that change of heart and change your ways? And how long were you into your bid before you had that change? Is something you did? Were you involved with a lot of horrible things in prison, or did you witness them, or what made you have that change, man? Was it family?
Yeah, I mean, coming up, I had my mother. She's the greatest human on the planet Earth, man. To this day. But she was working 2 jobs. Her and my father didn't work out. And I'm a young kid. I'm in Chicago. I'm exploring the city when she's at work. So I kind of had my eye open to the streets.
Right.
At the same time, I got good grades. I was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. At 17, I enlisted in the Air Force, active duty during 9/11. But I was still too young. I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out, even when I was in the service. When I ended up getting locked up, basically I got locked up. I was the driver in a robbery. Some older family member of mine and his homeboy wanted me to drive him to a place one night. And without me ever going into a place, without anybody ever being physically harmed, though I understand the aspects of mental and emotional harm, I was sentenced with just as much time as anybody else that was in the vehicle.
Right.
Because Virginia doesn't have an accessory charge. When I first got locked up, I was young. I was hot-headed. I ended up getting a reputation because I was pretty good at fighting. And I kind of used that to my advantage on top of the fact I had education. I knew how to carry myself. I knew how to communicate. So I never really had a problem fitting in when it came to prison. It's just I had a problem with my temper. And it's crazy somebody says they don't have a problem fitting in, but that's what I had to do because I was looking at a 19-year sentence, essentially. Well, 85% of that. I really changed. I changed because I was given the opportunity to change. The COs, the ward, they seen I had influence on the yard. Guys from different gangs or different groups, religions, or whatever, they rocked with me. I rocked with them. It was just a respect thing. I was somebody that worked in the law library, somebody that worked what they call the inmate advisor. So I would fight the charges for the guys if they got rolled up in the prison. And I just got that reputation of being somebody that was connected to people. But I changed. I knew that the very day that I got locked up, if they would have let me go home, I wouldn't have came back. It's just in the midst of that, I was fighting for my freedom. I seen so many other things. I seen a friend of mine lose his life 2 days before he was supposed to go home.
Wow.
Behind a TV set. I've seen another friend of mine. He had 3 months before he was supposed to go home. Got the fight and ended up losing his life behind some wax on the floor. And that's some real. I mean, it's the craziest stuff in prison. Most frivolous of things. I've seen people lose their life in prison. I've seen guys walk into prison with 2 years on their sentence and get to fighting and end up with a life sentence or 20 years. So I was every time I seen something ugly, I was more motivated and encouraged to go towards my freedom. I was ready to go home. It's just I was stuck in that box.
So early on, you get in a bad situation. I've seen guys who go on an armed robbery and somebody supposed to be something easy, supposedly they go in there and kill somebody, and next thing you know, everybody's doing a life sentence. You know, so that people don't realize if you're part of it, you're just as guilty as the trigger man or anybody else. So you could have an unstable friend who goes in there and does something they ain't supposed to do. But we're not here to glorify past or crimes. And so just so our audience knows that, and the YouTube algorithms know that, we're here to send a message to people that might be looking our way or be in that lifestyle now, whether they're gang related or like me. I was a loner doing a hell of a lot of illegal shit. Excuse my language. I was doing jewel heist, art heist, and trafficking coke, to Florida to New York, and guns. I was involved with a lot of stuff, and a lot of it I had connections on each end, but I moved alone. I did most of my stuff alone. And, then whether you're running with a crew or a gang or, whatever it may be, there's no future in it. I tell some of my guys that were organized mobsters I have on the show, retired guys that are writing books now and working on their movies and all that. And I think like the only wise guy is a guy that gets out of that life,
Yeah, true.
Even wiser if you reach back and try to help somebody avoid it or change. So
yeah.
So you're in prison, you're witnessing all these horrible things, and even though you had made a commitment to change, every one of those things, I'm sure, in your mind, in your heart, solidified. Like, man, I've got to get out of here.
No doubt. I think, and that's what the content. A lot of the content is a reflection of those thoughts from the inside, and thoughts now. you know, I've been through some things. I know guys that went to prison, been locked up 19 years, never got into a fight. Me, I was a hothead from Chicago that got locked up in Virginia. And in the things that I've seen, I got sent to a maximum security, Sussex 2, which is a level 4. And then I was on another spot called Greensville Correctional Center, which is what they call the city. St. Bride's, which was gangland. I hit a lot of rough spots on my bid. And I mean, it was really, for me, again, it was just everything, trauma. I didn't want to experience none of it, but I was stuck. And I think the more I experienced it, man, it was hit me in the side of the head, man. You know, so to speak. Like, I was ready to go. It'll beat you down.
Yeah, definitely. In my case, my mother she was mentally ill, and I had family members take advantage of her and steal, my inheritance. They told her I was dead. They didn't tell her I was in prison. Took everything after she passed away, and not talking to family. And you mentioned you were at Supermax. We'd say you were at Red Onion.
No, I was at Sussex too.
Sussex. Okay. So there's 3 Supermaxes, just so my audience knows, in Virginia. And one of them is Wallens Ridge, and that's where I was. HBO special up the ridge about that place. And I can tell you, Chris, man, I didn't have the points to be there. Now, I was a high escape risk from another state. They had me. I know how to open locks and stuff. So they had me there basically with an override, even though it's a nonviolent offender. So, of course, I'm calling my lawyer and everything, trying to get out of there. And I was a law clerk, too. So I scored myself. I came up with 17 custody points. The lady screwed up, gave me 34, Powhatan. And I went to the supervisor, and they warned me, "Don't go to this guy. He won't help you. He'll make things worse." And I did it anyway. I thought I knew everything. Yeah. I said, "Here's the code, Virginia, whatever the policy, and here's my score. Here's my history. They're double scoring me on things." And he said, "Oh, I'll take care of that." Well, I was helping somebody that was a barber with his habeas, at Powhatan while I was passing through in transit, and because I had been a law clerk before. And he came back and he says, "Man, I don't know who the hell you pissed off, but we have a bus going to Wallens Ridge in the morning. They pulled one dude's box down, put another one with your name on it." And so I'm immediately on the phone with my lawyer, and I'm like, "Man, it's trying to sub me to a Supermax,
That was an emergency transfer.
Yep, because I questioned their judgment in doing it,
Yep.
I ended up stuck there 2 years, man, and we're in a chow hall one day, and there was a tour. I forget who the guy's name is, head of security or somebody, like number 2 in command up top, right? He through with an entourage. You're not supposed to stand up in the chow halls.
Yeah.
I didn't care. They passed me. I said, "Sir, I have to talk to you." I got up and went to the wall and spoke to him. They're all looking at me, like, what's he saying? What's he telling on or something? Yeah, who knows what they're thinking?
Right.
Said, "I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm trying to get up off this place."
I'm a hostage. They do that to guys, though. They don't know that. Like, they'll send you to higher levels. They'll put you in a hole and just leave you there. Like, they'll do crazy stuff, man.
Listen, I was out in that Wallens Ridge, right? And first thing I get there, once guys find out the law, they call me New York, right? So they all need help with something, getting medical care, help with the habeas, whatever, right? So I'm helping a few guys, right? And I'm one of those guys who, I treat people how I want to be treated. And I don't see skin color until you show me otherwise. If you're with those racist stuff out your mouth all day long and then you come to me for help, I will get you to the side and say, "Hey, you coming to me for help, but aren't you the guy? My nickname is Cracker, this, that, the other thing."
Right.
Well, "Oh, New York, I'm sorry. You know how we talk, man." And I'm like, "Well, then just knock it off when it comes to me, please." And I'll be glad to help you, but it's not.
Just respect, man.
Yeah. I'm from New York, so there's a whole different level of respect than there is in the South. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago. I know.
Right. So you already know. So it was so bad there, and they were complaining about racism towards the black inmates there, and it's all in the western part of Virginia. Now there was decent officers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But most of them were down with the gangs, bringing them in dope and shit. So you had no wins. You couldn't, if you wanted to, be known to be doing that, you couldn't go to staff for help for anything because the gangs are going to find out about it.
No question. No,
So,
you better know.
I was just trying to get out on my points, on a legitimate argument, and man, I couldn't get out of there. And I know the law and I know the rules, and I had trouble getting out of there until I went to that guy. He wasn't going to help, but then a lady came over and said, "Give me your name and DC number again. If this checks out, he's going to get you out of here." I said, "Thank you." And she wrote it down. She got me out of there in 2 days. like an interim review. Yeah, she did it finally.
You got luck. Yeah. They did it. You got luck. Yeah.
I was 2.5 years of fighting these people, though. I sat,
especially on Wall. When I first went down, it was customary. If you got a dirty urine, you automatically got sent to a level 4. And they were sending guys up there with us that they had DUIs, and they were out of their mind. Like, they went from a level 1 road camp, popped dirty, and got sent up there to level 4 with us. And they were just, we seen it all the time. The system's weird, man. I'm glad they changed certain things, but
on paper, that classification system should theoretically work well. But you have incompetent and indifferent people doing it and getting people killed in the process.
Wrong people in the system are supposed to be functioning in the system.
Right. In my case, I came in with some New York smarts. Plus, when you're a law clerk, not too many people are going to mess with you because I can be helping this group or that group. And hey, man, leave New York alone, man. He's working on my case.
Yeah.
But listen, I didn't believe all the racist stuff I was hearing. I said, well, till I see it. And then one day, a young black dude, he missed the door, and he said, "Man, please let me out." The guys up there with the gun, right? They got the shotgun with the rubber bullets. And he kind of got into it with him a little bit, but he went back to his cell. Well, they came to extract that dude. Cameras, the cameras, this, that. So they got him all handcuffed, left and right. The shackles, the black box, whatever they had, and the leg irons. Yeah. So they got him on his knees in front of the cell. I had stayed back that day, and I'm watching this. I got a perfect view, right? All of a sudden, one of them says, "Stand up." And when he went to stand, the other one behind him grabbed the chains and ripped them up in the air and put that poor kid back on his face, man, and smashed everything open. Blood everywhere, man. They beat him up, drug him off, right?
Yeah, I already know what's going on up there.
It's like, oh my God, man, this shit's true, right? And then when he came back like 2 months later, I said, such and such, if you want my help, man, I'll help you deal. I said, I saw that. I'll show you how to get the videos. He said, man, they told me they weren't working that day. I said, they had handheld too. He said they were all down. I said, of course they. Right. He said they would have me killed if I went after them or went to the state police or filed anything against them. He said, New York, I'm just going to drop it, man. He said, you know how it is. I'm trying to get up out of here.
Yeah.
That guy had to drop that. There was so many witnesses that saw what happened to him. Another time, man, I was helping some guys in the day room. You only get that little, whatever it is, hour out for showers or whatever. Mm-hmm. You got to do your phone, your showers, and deal with all the bullshit. And I usually use that time, a few minutes here and there, to sit down and help guys maybe write a medical grievance or something, get some facts that they need something worked on. Man, I got popped out of my cell in the middle of the day one time when nothing else was going on. They called me down to that little booth, and there's about, must have been 5-6 officers in there, big dudes from out the West, the ones that spitting that tobacco and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just like, boy, where are you from, boy?
Yeah.
Said, City, sir, I'm trying to be super respectful. So I'm from New York City, sir. What's going on? He says, you an N lover, boy? Like use the N word towards me. Like, and I'm like, I said,
that's how they are out there, though.
Man, that's when I realized them dudes out there ain't playing a race card or nothing. It's really bad out there. It's bad. They told me if you ever see you help them with any legal work, especially grievances around here anymore, we can pay these gang members to beat your ass, you put you in the hospital, or find a shank under your pillow, or whatever.
It's a whole nother world, man.
Out
west, out west is a whole different part of the system.
Man.
Like when you go to Keene Mountain, Wallens Ridge, just Red Onion, that way, it's just different.
I was at Keene Mountain for a short time, I think about a year, maybe about 2 years. Then I went down to Augusta. And if you watch them make roommate, I got released from Augusta. So and then the production wanted to fly a drone. I said, you can't fly a drone near the damn prison. Let me get out of here.
You can't fly a drone over the prison. They flew drones over the. I went home from Nottoway Work Center, and then somebody was flying drone. They locked the prison down. Like they locked us down back to back.
They knew they were out there filming, but we filmed across the street because they wanted me to give some statements about how it felt to be out and all that, with the prison in the background. So we weren't on prison grounds anymore. But because the drone was flying around the perimeter road looking at the prison, looking at me, they locked the prison down. I have friends later on, say, hey, man, they locked it down the day you went home.
No question. I already know the fellas.
So, you know how it is. You get the haters, man. I like some of your content where it's like, people don't believe in you. Like, why are you still talking about prison? Well, it kind of messed my mind up a little bit. This thing I got to get off my chest.
Yeah, it's fun. I do it. It's funny, and I love when the trolls come because that's only one side. Everybody else in Atlanta, in society, I'm a principal to a vocational school, and I'm Mr. Chris, and my student. You know what I'm saying? So for the people on the internet, they're seeing just this. It's just a small percentage of who I am. There's so much more to the story. The advocacy. We were just at Dismiss Charities, a federal halfway house today. We're going into United States Penitentiary in Atlanta. The feds soon to talk to them.
Are you still on paper right now?
Nah, I just got off. I'm talking about just last month.
So
Yeah.
do you go in under the umbrella of like another ministry or organization? Or do you have your own organization you're getting into these places?
No, it's just me. It's just me. I mean, a lot of it is honestly, a lot of it is based on the fact I'm a principal and I'm a business owner. And so they see us in that light, me and my wife, and we're able to move. But no, just getting involved, going to different events, networking with people. People are constantly reaching out on social media, and then also just recently given an opportunity to speak with the ACLU. And again, that just came from networking with people. It's just networking, man. Yeah, social media is powerful when you use it right.
It's crazy. I've only been doing mine for about a year now, and I'm learning. I watch tutorial videos all the time. I got millions of fans on the show, but I'm trying to transition them over to this channel right here because if I can even pick up half of my other fans to over here, I'm really then I'm monetizing and earning a living. Selling books because I've got 2 books out. I got more coming, but it's still tough, man. To this day, it's like. Yes. However, in my case, Chris, it's all starting to click finally. How the social media works, the tagging, the time of day, the length of your clips and your reels and your shorts.
Yeah.
That I'm like, man, it's so every platform. I was in the same shoes because you and I didn't have these, and social media for the most part didn't exist when we went in. I came out. I have to use 5 platforms now every day, and each one works slightly different. So you talk about a learning curve, man. I'm older than you, so it doesn't want to sink in.
I get it, man. And it's it's good though. I would just say, for anybody that might be watching this, if you're trying to build up content or build up your channel, it really is about consistency. If you got something, put it up there. You know what I'm saying? Just get into the algorithms. People ask me because we've been successful on 3 different platforms and we monetize on 3 different platforms. I don't use, there's no method to the madness other than consistency and content. And I don't hesitate. You know what I'm saying? If I got a thought, if I got a story, I just get it up there. I don't even really think about it. I don't edit. I don't do all of my stuff is just raw, uncut, and people are responding to it, man. So that's just an encouraging word to anybody that if you're trying to get a channel up, podcast, etc., just do it. Just get the content up and keep going. People will come. It'll start clicking.
Yeah, and in the beginning, I want it to be too polished. Everything's got to be perfect. And I'm looking at other guys that are just going immediately. Like I'm used to non-scripted because my show was non-scripted for a major network, and it exploded. But that's them. Now my stuff, I always want to be just right. Everything's got to be perfect. But now I'm learning, I just pick up that phone and do some real TikTok pieces and
just engage. Just engage with everybody because you already got that fan base, man. You just working on connecting with them.
Yep, I'm trying to move it over. I don't know if you told me you have a book out now, or are you working on one as well?
No. My wife, she has a book. I'm gonna shout her out. She's got a book about her story about to lose it. And I get the interesting thing about we got married. Actually, we got married. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. But we got married prior to me coming home. So that's another thing.
You know her? Talk about. Did you know her before prison?
No, I was running a nonprofit. The Nehemiah Empowerment Project. The Department of Corrections, they gave me this position called a senior elder with another guy, and we're able to create programs and do all this type stuff. And she was supposed to be basically a business meeting. somebody could be advise me on some stuff with a nonprofit.
Right.
And we ended up married. And we own a school, and we do a lot of other crazy stuff.
You had to keep that real quiet when you were still in prison. I already know.
Man, I would. It was my story. I'm telling you, it's crazy because even when I was in prison, prior to me being married, in the most respectful, humble way, we're still friends. I was dating a kitchen supervisor at Greensville for close to 6 years. And nobody knew that. Right. I tell people all the time, prison isn't. You're not as isolated as you think, or as you think guys are.
Yeah. I had a situation with a dental hygienist for a little while. And here's how the guys who get into those situations blow it. If you got a woman that's willing to spend a little time with you in prison or bring you something, that's between you and her. Because the second you tell somebody, they're telling their friend or they're mad at you one day and saying, that mother effer didn't give me a cup of coffee. Tell his business all over the place.
It's the same thing out here. Guys put they not saying you should be doing anything, but you got to mind your business and be careful who minds your business. At the same, if that makes sense.
Exactly right. I used to tell guys, so why would you tell anybody if you got something going on here? It's only going to fall apart.
And prison with gossip is like high school. It travels quick because there's only but so much going on behind them walls. So once you got a target on you or somebody know, it's over with. They'll hear about you in 4 buildings if you're in 1 building. It doesn't matter.
There was a nurse got in trouble with some guy, but he had her bringing in dope and all kinds of stuff. And, the old bill would be like, hey, that's good come up. Back in the day, just before I got out, the guys were all about that strip, right? So that's it was everywhere. And so she had got caught with so much of that stuff bringing it for dude. And it's because he went and told a friend got in trouble for something, and then sinks the whole ship, and now the girl's got felonies, can't work anywhere. Well, I think he got out. They're still together eventually, whatever happened. But, the nurses were complaining about her. I said, hey, love is where you find it. If she fell in love with dude, she just said, I love you. I'll wait for you. We can do a few things here and there, but I'm not bringing don't look to get me in trouble. But I used to tease other nurses and tell them love is where you find it, So
no question. Love is without bounds, man. It's without conditions.
That's right. My girl was advocating for people that are incarcerated, wrongfully convicted, and she's a forensic accountant. She's a civilian fraud examiner, right? So she got to UC Berkeley, an Ivy League school at 15 years old. Top dead gorgeous, right? Some people she smiles, looks like Julia Roberts, and she looks kind of like one of the Kardashians. She's really pretty. So I didn't know all this, and she said she looked for PR representation to a friend of mine who was the vice president of NBC, and he retired now with a PR firm in Florida, and Tom Madden. So she calls him, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'll help you with your incarcerated client, but my friend / client, William Steele is incarcerated. He writes books, and he's getting out, soon in a few months. Maybe he can help you with some, legal understanding of things and help you get the story told, And so he connected us, man. Like I think 5 months now before my release, and we hit it off, man. And then like 2 months later, I got offered this TV show, and she's like, "Well, be careful, it's a reality show." They try to make people look bad, but I came out looking good, and the people I was living with came out looking like really pretty bad because of the way they treated me. But so we fell in love, man. We're engaged now. So we got engaged in Chicago at Trump International at the rooftop restaurant. I proposed to her. And so I'm blessed, man. I just, there's not a day goes by when I try to get her into the car and say, hey, let's go for a drive, just anything. I want to see the nighttime streetlights go by, listen to the radio while you ride down the road. And I'm open.
I tell everybody that's coming, the fellas that are coming home, if you want to be successful, man, settle down. Everybody that I know that's successful out here, they settle down. They got a wife, they got a family. They come home every night. They got something, they got a good structure. Right. So I feel you on that, man. My wife she's
what's the name of her book? Tell me that, and I'll put it in the description for you.
The name of her book is About to Lose It, and it's by Lashawn Myers. It's on Amazon. It's a couple of different places as well, but I always just say Amazon because that's where everybody can find it the easiest.
What's it about?
It's about her life story. It's about how she came up. She's originally from 7 Mile, Detroit. She's got a crazy story. Even with her coming to Georgia, she moved out here with 2 suitcases and a one, her stool she did hair on, and now she's the owner of a school. Just broke a record down here in Georgia. Just got awarded Educator of the Year.
Wow.
So her story it's a triumphant one, man. She's blessed. She works hard. She's loved down here. And I just support her. That's all. I always try to push her to the forefront. She's always trying to push me. So
before I got locked up, I used to get my nails done buffed. Really good manicures. In New York and Vegas. And since I've been out, I haven't really get a good manicure yet, man. They do good manicure.
It's crazy. I own a car. I own a school, and I barely, man, because I'm always running. I don't even have time to sleep, man. You know how it is.
A friend of mine owns a nail polish company called Gotti Nails. I don't know if you ever heard of Gotti Nails. Mm-hmm. She was a big supporter of mine when I was in prison. She has the horror report, and she really supports prisoners. And her and her guy, they have a place called Gotti Nails. So if you ever check it out, my girl loves it. They got some kind of gel that she loves. I don't know all about gel and what's
yeah.
But so what do you got planned next? What are you doing next? You going in anywhere? You said you got big plans for a documentary, or?
Yeah, man. And funny, I want to backtrack really quick. We had a chance to be on Love After Lockup, and I shut it down. I shut it down because I was like, no. But I salute anybody that does do it, man, especially if you come out the right way and you know what I'm saying, you tell your story the right way, man. Because that is a daunting task. As far as I don't even know, man. I just did interviews for Hip Hop Network TV. You can catch us on, or I say catch us because I consider me and anybody that's rocking with me on TikTok, YouTube, where we do live streams. My live streams, I've got former COs that were behind the wall with me. I got guys that I was beefing with me when we were behind the walls. We got a lot of crazy stuff on my channel. And then as far as like in person, man, I'll be up there in Commonwealth of Virginia in April for an awards ceremony where my wife will be honored. And I'll be back in September in Virginia where I'm being awarded Returning Citizen of the Year.
Wow.
And meanwhile, like I said, we're working with the federal penitentiaries down here in Atlanta, Dismas Charities, and we're continuing to work with churches and other organizations down here, really focusing on getting in there and doing some in-person development, more than just motivational speaking, but really getting in there, starting to teach seminars, talking to guys about emotional intelligence, preparing for them to, get out here, come home, and do that type of stuff, man. Like, just a lot of work, just in the trenches, just trying to wake some people up and hopefully, get guys ready to come out here, men and women.
Where do you do your lives again? Where? Because I'm kind of new to all this as well. I think I did like 2 lives so far. I did like
my live streams are on YouTube. Just V100 TV, THE100 TV. Or you can check me out on Facebook. Same thing. We've got a community chat over there. I got a team over there that runs that page. It's really dope, real positive, inspirational. Check us out everywhere.
Are your lives regular scheduled or just when you get ready to do them?
Like I said, I'm organic. I always want my content to be just natural. I don't want it to be, structured or robotic. My conversations are real easy. I do a lot of research, so I try to do them on Thursdays just because that's a slower day for me. But man, if I end up meeting somebody on the internet or I see somebody and I'm like, yo, what's up? And we're gonna have a fire conversation, I throw it on live stream and we go and we just shoot the conversation and we go.
I'll make sure I drop in and check it out. I don't think I caught in your lives. I like your TikToks though.
Yeah, I'd love to have you over there too, man. You can definitely come over there and I can ask you some questions and network and all that stuff too, man. Introduce you to my viewers over there.
Yeah. Do you know? Maybe I should ask you this over the phone. I can ask you now. Do you know anybody getting out of prison soon who's not going to be going home living with a family member? Can you hear me?
You said, do I know anybody that's going home from prison that's not going to be?
that's not going to be living with his family member, maybe 4 to 6 months.
Let me see. That's getting ready to come home.
Yeah,
I believe I do. I think I do. I think, yeah, I actually do. I got a brother up there, getting ready to come home from Baskerville. He's in the South Boston area out there. And actually, I got one more. I got two buddies that are coming home both of them within 5 months. And I'm just thinking, and I know their situation. They're trying to figure it out right now as we speak.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about that privately. We'll talk. I'll tell you why I'm asking. This might be some things we can help them out with. Listen, I want to promote your stuff. So if you want to shout out to anything else, we'll make sure you put all your links in the description, your projects, whatever you're up to, and just, anything else you want to share. What means the most to you, like being out and being able to share and help people? What does it mean to you at the heart level, or maybe at a faith level? What does it mean for you?
Got you. First and foremost, man, thank you, man. Shout out to William Steele, True Crime. Steal the Spotlight Media. Make sure you check in, subscribe to his content, hit the notification bell, so you can know when he's going live. And salute to you, man, for doing this, having me up here. All my stuff, it's just D100 TV, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. If you want to email me personally, you can email me at CLWILLARS. That's my name, CL Willars at Gmail. I do in-person speaking, motivational speaking. I do development classes. I do seminars. I pull up. I take flights. I get on a train. I'm just here to help. I'm here to wake people up. And I do a lot of advocacy work as well. If you're somebody that's been over sentenced, or you got a loved one that's been over sentenced, or maybe you're just trying to find out how to navigate your way through a certain situation, I'm by no means any legal. I'm not that, but I'm somebody that's been behind the wall, and I might be able to shine some light on what you're going through. I think that's it.
That's some of what we're touching on as well. It's, you have to, if you're really trying to do the right thing, like we both are, reaching back and sharing our experiences, like sort of like as a consultant, I guess, with other people, family members or people incarcerated. The biggest love I get is from the guys and women that got out and said, "Man, I'm so proud of you. You're doing the right thing." It's a pretty good feeling. You know how it is when you get those type of messages. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes some of them move me to tears. I'm like, who the hell am I that, for some reason, God's using me to really make somebody else feel encouraged to turn their life around. I met a comedian. He did 10 years in black dude, great comedian. He's done 10 years. I think it was Georgia. And I met him at my studio up here where we're filming Steal the Spotlight, my new TV show. And he was on another person's show. And he goes, "Hey, you're Bill from Inmate the Room." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do me a favor, man. I did time, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "My nephew's in a halfway house right now." And he said, besides me, he said, "You are his biggest hero. He admires you, and he really, he was thrilled when he saw that, that I ran into you in the studio out here. Would you mind looking him up and giving him some encouragement?" So this things that just fall into your lap, and I'm sure you've experienced it many times since you've been out. Somebody wants to speak to their kid or their loved one.
Yeah, I do it. My job is that every day I'm a principal. My students, everybody's going through something. So that's really when the new Atlanta News First, when they came up there to do the news story, they're like, "Well, what do you do?"
I saw that.
Like, yeah, for the most part, mine is conversations. And shout out, if you guys want to check out the school, lastinglayersofbeauty.com. That's our website.
What's the name of it?
Lasting Layers of Beauty Institute is the name of the school. The website is lastinglayersofbeauty.com.
Okay, we'll put that.
Yeah, so if you guys want to check us out, 100% graduation rate, 5 stars in Google. We're proud of that. We work hard for that. And then I just want to say this too, because you asked what, as far as like, I guess my final word or whatever. 16 years, 11 months after being sentenced to 144 years. I'm a husband. Somebody who's active in the community. I'm a mentor. I'm a leader. I'm a principal, school owner, business owner, advocate, all of these things. And I say this not to brag. So many people get up here and they want to point out their accomplishments. There's so much more that can be done. I simply say this: if I can do it, you can. There's no excuses, and that's what I fight for in the best way possible, just to take away the excuses, to show people they can have a bright future, a bright tomorrow, a bright now. It doesn't matter your background, what you went through. If you're on this side of things, even if you're still behind the wall, you still got a chance to make it right. Man, that's my word, man.
I look at it like this: with his life, there's hope. It's never too late to turn your life around, even if it starts in prison. That's where it started for me and you. In prison. No. Let's get this together and do something different. But
yes, sir.
I remember that news story that you just mentioned. I'm gonna probably put it here. I'm gonna put it in as at the end of this so my viewers can see it, or maybe put the link in. But I remember the heading of it was "From Prison to Principal." I think that should be the title of your book. So let's get that out.
Man, they trying to get me to write, man. I think the documentary is more realistic. I don't know if I have got enough patience to sit down, but I probably need to write a book because it's been a crazy ride, man.
I wrote my first one on a little tablets, in prison to jail with my right thumb. Right, my first book. I got out. My second one, I learned. My girl, she's wonderful, teaching me all this stuff, how to do the voice. So now I just tell the story.
Yeah, the voice and text, and
then we go back in and edit. So you can tell like one chapter a day or two a day. And, I'm speaking to myself now because I'm trying to get motivated to finish my other two books. But it's pretty easy once you get disciplined about just talking it. Tell it like you're telling your wife about it. Tell the story, whatever your story is, and then clean it up 2 or 3 times, put it out.
That sounds like a plan too. You put it like that, voice to text with the edit. Yeah,
it's real easy, man. And I'm telling you, I can't even believe how easy it was to get the second one out. It's daunting because you want the perfect book, but people know that we're not going to write the perfect book, but we're going to write a book that catches attention because people want to hear our stories. And my fans have said it many times, man. Put your books on audio. I don't want to read a book. Everything's audio now, and so. I didn't know how to do an audiobook. I still don't. And so to stall, I said, I took a poll. I said, would you like me to do it in my own voice or have somebody voice over? They're like, no, do it in your own voice. And I'm like, so now I'm trying to work out how to do these audiobooks.
Gotta get audiobooks. I don't listen to music in my car. I listen to audiobooks.
That's right. Get them out in audiobook.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Chris, it was great having you on the show. Everybody, if you're fans of mine, you got to be a fan of Chris. He's doing it, and he's been doing it a year longer than me. So, I'm on his coattails. But I'm glad to meet you. I'd like to have you on the show again. I look forward to perhaps being on yours. So
yes, sir, definitely.
Have a good night, man. Thank you so much for sharing with my audience what the journey's like. Check out his TikTok. Shout out your name of your TikTok again, because that's where you really got my attention.
Yeah, the TikTok is the_100_TV. And and if you find me on TikTok, my link tree's in the description, or if you find me on Facebook, you find me anywhere, you can find me everywhere. My link tree is everywhere.
Check him out. You won't be disappointed whether you've been to prison, got a loved one in prison, or just wanted to know what the struggle is like getting out of prison and the crazy stuff that goes through our mind because you hit it on the head. So I share that in a different way, but you got to go on that TikTok. So once again, man, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us. William Steele, True Crime, Inspirational Stories of Changed Lives. And we have one of them right here. Thank you again, Chris.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Good night.
This is William Steele. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support. Please remember, hit the like and subscribe button now.